Okay, Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Interesting conversation of debunking mental health. अच्छा जी, so पहले तो मैं ये बता दूं कि हमने बहुत सारे सेशंस किए थे in COVID times on mental health and well-being and wellness, and one of our friends, Haya, and she's a psychotherapist and an HR enthusiast, and she's with me today. And more of a panel, this would be a conversation जहां पर हम बात कर रहे होंगे अराउंड द लाइंस ऑफ डिबंकिंग मेंटल हेल्थ और so जो people who are joining in, this is your chance to ask a lot of questions, and we will try our level best कि हम उनको आंसर कर सकें, और कोशिश करेंगे, that is depending on your question. So don't hesitate asking question. My name is Dr. Arif Pyarali. I am Director Training Solution Learning Minds, and kind of a host today as well. So without or investing any further time on introducing either one of them, let's start today's session. So, hey Haya, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Arif. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me
I
here.
am good. Pleasure is all ours. Thank you for sparing out time for this very important topic. So, Haya, you have been a very prominent figure in enhancing this concept of mental health with your Insta page, Wellness with Haya, as well. So we are doing a lot of work regarding mental health, professionally as well. Or COVID, may we did a lot of sessions regarding well-being and wellness, and right now we can easily, not easily, but we can suppose that this is post-COVID times. Things
Right.
are starting to look better again. Things are opening up again. So without any I just want to
Positive.
ask, yeah, I just want to ask that how have you coped during this COVID? Being a psychotherapist and you're teaching people to for wellness and stuff. So I just wanted to understand how you are coping through this COVID pandemic.
It's a really good question. So before I begin, I just want to give a brief introduction to everyone. My name is Haya Malik. My social media name goes by the name of Wellness with Haya. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm an HR enthusiast, and I'm also very passionate about wellness, which has brought about this drive for me. And my aim is to promote mental health and wellness for each one of us to be able to live a very fulfilled and a content life, because I believe there is very much possible. And I've come to this conclusion, and I've come to this way of living based on my own experiences and my experience in my work with clients and so far. And I try to promote that kind of living to everyone so it's accessible to all. So you asked me a very interesting question, that as someone who teaches wellness and as someone who is in this field, how have I coped up, right? So I
Yeah.
would say that in the beginning, when COVID began, I would say that the change was a little difficult, because as human beings, we get so used to a comfort zone that when we're taken out of our comfort zone, we find it difficult to adapt. But human beings are also very, very adaptable. So
True.
just in a little while, we were able to adapt to the new normal, right? And for me, like I'm a very active person. So for me, like my day revolves around being very active at work, getting in some workout in, and other things that I'm going to discuss further to be able to tell you guys as well. So for me, it was kind of like a shutdown, because I felt a little trapped. I did feel like my mental health was being impacted. I had to make a very conscious effort to take care of my well-being and my mental health, for me to feel that feeling of fulfillment and contentment even during lockdown, right? Because there's so many things that come up for us. There's so much insecurity. There's so much uncertainty within yourself. If you're working in terms of work, in every aspect, there was so much uncertainty. So I adopted some kinds of routines and some kind of grounding methods to be able to ground myself better and to be able to really allow myself to live in the present without living in the future. So that,
Yeah.
that
So
is what really works.
once you say grounding method, I suppose that is the rituals which we follow day to day just to keep ourselves in sync. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, cool, Zabardast. Okay, so a lot of people have joined us, and I'm really happy to see that they are taking interest or they want to know more from professionals around mental health. So if you can just help them out and tell our audience that what is mental health. सुना बहुत है, अंग्रेजी जबान का लफ्ज है, हर कोई आजकल कह रहा है, लेकिन what exactly is mental health?
So I also feel like mental health has also become such a buzzword, and a lot of people don't understand the real meaning behind it. So I'm going to break it
Ooh,
down for you in a very simple way. Yeah. So
yeah, sure.
in a very very simple way, our mental health is really about how well are we able to enjoy life, right? How it primarily focuses around how we feel, how we think, and how we behave.
Hmm.
So it's something that really affects our daily life, our relationships, be it with anyone, be it at work, be it with family, be it with friends. So it's really the impact and the quality of our relationships. It's really comes down to how am I as an individual able to enjoy life, and how can I attain that balance between the activities that go around in my life and my psychological well-being. So it really comes down to a state of well-being, how well I'm able to contribute and feel and behave and think in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. But in addition to it, there are a lot of people, Haya, जो denial में होते हैं normally, and because I have met a lot of people, जहाँ पर they say, listen, okay, this pandemic is going on and stuff like that, but we are perfectly fine, Alhamdulillah, and touch wood and whatever it is, and I believe them. So if a layman, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching, they want to know more about mental health. So can you tell us what are the signs of low mental health? Like, I don't know, is there any signs we or symptoms we can look for?
So, it really varies from people to people, but I'm going to be able to tell you guys a general overview of what early signs of mental health look like so you're able to detect them within yourself. So, for example, if you feel like you're overthinking about a certain thing way too much and it's constantly on your mind, or you're feeling like you have low self-esteem, you are getting feelings of unworthiness, and as we say, the feeling of I'm not good enough. That is a very common feeling that a lot of people will be able to resonate with because it's very common. If you ever feel like you don't feel good enough, you always feel like your energy is very low. If you feel like you're sleeping or you're eating too much or too little, right? Or you're withdrawing from people that you would normally enjoy meeting. Um, you are using food or some kind of a suppressants to be able to suppress the feeling. You're avoiding yourself. You're overactively busy, and you're busy in a sense that you don't want to really acknowledge the real pain that's going within you. A lot of times, what I've happened is, people keep themselves so busy all day, 9 to 5 या 9 to 7 जो भी काम करेंगे, जिम जाएंगे, जो भी करेंगे, थोड़ा टाइम गुजारेंगे, and they come home just to sleep. And being
Hmm.
at home by themselves on their own is so unbearable to them. And that is why they don't
Hmm.
function by keeping themselves so busy all the time. And if you feel like you resonate with that, that is a very strong indicator that there is some unresolved or unprocessed emotions that you're running away from.
Hmm.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
So
nahi,
yeah.
thank you for telling us, because I have met a lot of people and they are in denial. They say like everything is fine, but somewhere down the line, after talking to them for after like 5-10 minutes, then they start opening up and saying, "Nahi yaar, wo maza nahi raha," and the things are not working as they used to and stuff. But still, they are not seeking help. Because maybe I don't know, because of the society taboo, or they think that things will get better eventually. People who have recent like now just joined in, I just want to tell you that why this topic and why now. So we with us we have Haya, and why this topic right now is that tomorrow we have World Mental Health Day, and so we are celebrating that one day before just for you, so you can see the live. And if you really like the session, you can share it with people, so they can rotate it around in their circles. That's what we are aiming for. Okay, so Haya,
Absolutely.
any questions from your end,
So
if
yeah,
you want to
sure.
ask?
I do want to ask you lots of questions. One thing I want to also emphasize on early signs of mental health is if you feel anxious. Anxiety is a very big one. You know, if you feel anxious, or if you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling very hopeless, okay, things are not going to change, or you're feeling guilt on a regular basis, or you're so stuck in your old life that you're not even being able to come to reality with the present moment. You're not able to perform your daily tasks how you were. You're having unexplained relationship problems. You don't understand why you're fighting so much, why your relationships are feeling so unfulfilling. So you're not able to make sense of any of those things. Those are all warning signs, and those are all indicators of a low mental health. And that's an
Hmm.
indicator that you need to work on your mental health a little further, right?
Okay.
And I just want to emphasize, also tomorrow is World Mental Health Day, and I don't think there are enough days in this year to be able to emphasize on the impact of mental health. But I just
Very
want to
true.
say that you don't have to be suffering with a diagnosed disorder to be able to seek help. I understand that, and also with these early warning signs, if these go misdiagnosed or unkept for too long, they can turn into disorders, for example, clinical depression or an anxiety disorder, or some people have, schizophrenia or OCD disorder. So anything that's left unattended to in the moment and early warning signs can increase and has the impact of becoming a disorder. So I just want to say, and I'm not trying to scare anyone, of course, but I just want to say that there is no harm in wanting to go for therapy, because therapy is just a way to explore yourself. And the way I
Hmm.
explain it to people is that we live our lives on a daily basis, like a robot. हम हर चीज कर रहे होते हैं on autopilot. But do we really know what's going on within us? Do we have any understanding of why we are the way we are, or why we feel the way we do, or what has made us into the human beings that we are today, or what has led us to being this way today? So,
Hmm.
so your emotional well-being, your mental health is also a way of exploring yourself, of wanting to get to know yourself better. People also
True.
want to go down that path, even if they may not be facing any kinds of mental health issues. So I just
Yeah.
want to emphasize on that.
But thank
So
you for that. But because one of the articles I was reading recently, and they said that if you wake up every morning and you feel tired, like every single morning, you wake up and you feel tired or fatigued, that is the first clinical sign of depression. And so you need to acknowledge that, and you need to seek help or therapy or whatever it is, however you feel safe for doing so. Yeah.
And you said a very good thing, and because a lot of people start diagnosing themselves with depression, they're feeling a certain way,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, I'm depressed. And I want to clear
Yeah.
that you can only be diagnosed with depression if you have been feeling low self-worth, fatigued, unable to get out of bed, unable to perform daily tasks for a consistent time of 2 weeks or more, and then
Two
you
weeks or
get
more.
diagnosed. Yes.
Okay.
But kabhi kabhi ho raha hai, that happens. We're human beings. We feel low. We feel that way, and that's okay.
Hmm.
It's okay to feel down too. You can't feel good all the time. It's not possible. And
Yeah.
it's okay to have down days. But if you're consistently feeling that for 2 weeks or more, that's an alarming sign.
Hmm.
So I
Makes
want to ask
sense.
you
Makes sense.
something as well, Dr. Arif. I know
Yep.
that you work in the corporate sector, and you're very hands-on in trainings, and you're so well known in the market. I want to know from a corporate point of view. Do you feel like mental health? Where does mental health fit in the corporate world? Do you feel like people struggle with it? Do you feel like people are open to it? Is there taboo around it?
Okay, so first of all, that's really kind of you. And yes, why, in terms of mental health and the training part, we are on the. I train on the first level, the awareness level. You are on the second and the third level, and where you give therapy. Uh, so you are on the second level where you give therapy, and then there's the psychiatrist who prescribe meds for people who are suffering from these issues. Okay, so if you ask me across board, what I have seen, that is that there are very few companies who have placed enough focus or enough what we can say attention to mental health. बहुत कम companies हैं, because a lot of companies I think so they don't give that much importance to mental health altogether. कंप्लायंस स्पेशली कोविड के बाद अगर मैं बात करूं तो कंप्लायंस इन द टर्म्स ऑफ के मास्क होना चाहिए, आपने जो है वो 6 फीट के जो है यू हैव टू स्टे 6 फीट अवे एंड वर्क एंड stuff like that, or work from home or something on those lines. So we have worked around the compliance of these physical boundaries, but what the byproduct of these compliance or the byproduct of this pandemic is low mental health. People are getting frustrated, furiated, depressed. उसपे कोई SOPs नहीं है. And for me, that is one of the most alarming signs. So, for example, I have met a lot of working women. They have absolutely no policy. The company has no policy regarding कि उनको किस तरह treat करना, because they can't work 9 to 5. It's almost impossible क्योंकि उनको they have their kids who they want to like have online classes, Zoom पे and वो सारी चीजें. So it's impossible for them to work 9 to 5, but उसके against like उसके साथ कोई policy नहीं है. People मैं एग्जांपल देता हूं, अभी मैं आई वाज विजिटिंग अ बैंक फॉर माय बायोमेट्रिक, सो दे फॉलोड ऑल ऑफ द SOPs and giving me sanitizer and stuff like that. I was very if I may say skeptical of stepping into a bank during these times, these pandemic times, and uh, they made me wait over there for like 50 minutes or so just to get my biometric done. Right now, imagine the level of mental stress or anxiety I would be going around. I don't want to go to that bank. It's a policy that I have to get my biometric done or they will shut my account close. So what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of companies who have worked on the physical part of the pandemic coping, but I think so only 1 to 2% companies have actually worked around how to give mental relief to their employees and their customers. There was recently one article I was reading of Harvard, and they said the heart concept. So मैं पूरा नहीं explain कर सकता, but the first point was give your customers and employees that sense of calmness, that you are there for them, right? That is the first point you can give. But unfortunately, there are not many companies who have done that for their employees or for their customers for that matter.
So
So
you're saying
yeah,
a lot of
that's
companies lack flexibility, they lack the awareness and the acceptance of having low mental health, or being able to accommodate their employees if they're feeling that way.
Exactly, and again, we live in such a beautiful country where there is such diversity of companies as well. ठीक है? So from textile has their own mindset, power and oil and gas, they have their own mindset, farmers have their own mindset, banks have their own mindset. So there are few industries who do not actually take into account mental health. मतलब ये भी कोई चीज होती है, वो कहते हैं यार आपको सैलरी मिल रही है, you have these KPIs, send us this KPIs till the end of the month, take out the salary and move. So उनका जो पूरा प्रोसेस है वो यहाँ तक ही होता है. But then there are multiple MNCs who actually are investing time, effort and money to enhance, or at least if not enhance, maybe that's not the right word, at least sustain mental health with their employees. So I recently met this person from an oil and gas sector, and I was having a chat with that person, and उसने कहा कि यार attrition rate थोड़ा जो है ना वो higher side पे जा रहा है. And I was like, oil and gas में कभी भी attrition rate नहीं जाता है, like it's very minimum. So why is it happening? And उसने कहा पता नहीं यार, I think so people have better opportunities as they move. And I was trying to explain to him that it may be because of the mental pressure of this pandemic is one of the major factors of your employees now moving away because you're not giving enough attention. Again, अब वो मुझे नहीं पता उन्होंने समझा इस बात को या नहीं समझा, but I tried my level best to make them understand. So yeah,
In your experience with trainings and with different companies, with people, do you feel like that low mental health impacts their performance?
Oh yes, definitely. And tell me how it will not create. And because you are a professional as well, Haya, and people who are watching us are professionals as well. I'm sure, matlab, if someone is suffering from low mental health, as Haya pointed out, the issues or signs and symptoms of low mental health, people will procrastinate more, they will be absent more, they will have conflict more, will have low trust with the team members, and they will try to blame their issues to others. If someone with low mental health, these are classical signs, absenteeism and all of that. So now tell me, the performance will hamper. There is no second opinion on that or second doubt on that. अफसोस के साथ, unfortunately, then what happens is that the managers, which I train extensively across Pakistan, they play their influence card or their position card to make the employee work for their job. ठीक है ना? So if you want to continue your job, you have to perform. So, and that is disaster for a manager, that if he has to place in his authority due to his position, right? He has to play his chair card. But yeah, by saying that, और फिर हम कहते हैं ना हमारी कौम ही ऐसी है. मसला ये कि कौम ऐसी नहीं है, हमारे पास मेथड एक ही है, क्योंकि अब दूसरे मेथड को ना हमने अप्लाई करना है, ना उससे प्रॉपर स्ट्रेटेजाइज करना है, ना उसे इम्प्लीमेंट करना है. तो फिर एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट्स जस्ट द पोजीशन कार्ड. और क्योंकि उसके बाद काम हो जाता है तो हमें लगता है हमारी आवाम ही ऐसी है, which is not true. So okay, so because this is just a conversation, we thought that we should help our audience who are live. Haya, I want to ask that what are the types of mental health issues? Can you just shed some light on that?
Sure. It's a little connected to what I spoke of earlier. And if someone has just joined in, I'm just going to give an
Please.
overview on that. So because this is important. So early warning signs of mental health. For example, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling low self-worth, you're not feeling good enough, compulsive thoughts हो रहे हैं, you're eating too much or you're eating too little, and you don't understand what is happening to you. You constantly feel this wave of uprat within you. Your confidence is low. You may be struggling with guilt or shame. You may be comparing yourself to other people, but उसके साथ तो ऐसा नहीं हुआ, वो भी मेरी situation में, but वो तो ऐसा है और मैं तो ऐसी हूँ. So, constantly comparing yourself to other people. And when we constantly compare, it harnesses feelings of not good enough, that harnesses feelings of innately subconsciously telling ourselves that the way we are right now is not good enough. You need to be something else. You need to be somewhere else. So
Yeah.
feeling
Okay.
hopeless. Yeah.
So Haya, just help me out, and all of our audience over here, because now the question which I'm gonna ask might आपके लिए शायद आसान हो, but मुझे लगता है ये आवाम जो है ना, इनको ये सुनना है. They really want to hear this. So if someone is going through so depression or anxiety or mental health issue or whatever it is, right? So apart from therapy, right, which you do professionally as well, apart from the meds which psychiatrists prescribe, if we get to know that we are suffering from this, and if we do not want to go to the therapy or psychiatrist for the meds, if uh, is there any other treatment options of
Yes.
resolving these mental health issues?
Absolutely, Dr. Arif, and that's also what I extensively aim to promote on my page. It's okay if you don't want to go for therapy. And a lot of people who struggle with the signs of mental health, they don't even need psychiatry help. So you don't even need to go to a psychiatrist unless it's not something extreme. Like I said, you're not diagnosed with a disorder from a counselor, and then they send you to that third level that you have to go to a psychiatrist. But so this is where self-help tools come in. And you were asking me how do I manage to keep myself sane, and I do it also through therapy and self-help tools, right? So, and this is where the concept of wellness comes in. And it's very important to stress upon that also, because a lot of times, we are even at work during COVID. One thing that's very common amongst all of the things that I spoke of earlier is stress. We are constantly in stress. We're not being able to function at work. We're not being able to function if it's university for someone. We're not being able to really focus in the present moment. हम हमेशा आगे का सोच रहे होते हैं. हमें अपनी relationships में difficulty हो रही होती है. We're not being able to take care of ourselves. So this is where the concept of wellness comes in, and this is also one of what I'm so passionate about teaching wellness to people. Because once you understand the concept of wellness and once you understand the impact it has on you, you're able to achieve that balance, and you're able to achieve that equilibrium of living a fulfilled life. So before I begin and I give you an overview of what exactly that is, I want to emphasize for everyone that what do I mean when I say wellness? What does that even mean? So wellness is really being able to live a very healthy and a fulfilling life. It's like we live a life where we're conscious of our decisions. We know what we're doing, why we're doing it. So it's constantly a process that we live our lives through awareness and growth, right? Now, wellness is not something that I would say that just comes to people. It's a conscious effort that you do for yourselves to bring into your lives. So it's a conscious decision that I make every day of practicing some form of wellness, but I'm just going to talk about. So to be able to summarize it, it's a choice that you make. It's choosing a way of life, and it's really more than just absence of disease. It can be कि आप physically ठीक महसूस कर रहे हैं, everything is okay, but you're just not feeling good, something is not right. So it's really more than just an absence of a disease, right? It's our intentions, it's our everyday choices that's linked to a really state of holistic health and well-being. It's really connected to that. It's living
True.
an optimal life.
Hmm.
So I want to emphasize, move on with कि dimensions of wellness होते क्या हैं, कि बहुत different kinds of wellness हैं. So when we talk about mental health in particular, there is only one dimension of our personal wellness. There are several other dimensions, right? And oftentimes when we're not aware of these dimensions, and when we don't know what these dimensions are, we're not able to help ourselves. We don't know what's going on.
True.
So to quick briefly overview, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what each of these are. So emotional wellness, or you can say mental health, is really being able to have a satisfied relationship with your own emotional presence, with your thoughts, your behaviors, your feelings, and to be able to express them to the people when you're feeling a certain way when you feel it's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of them. Then is physical wellness. Can be obvious, but it goes neglected most of the time. So
Yeah.
physical wellness, of course, it includes exercise, but it also really includes your nutrition. And this is something I really want to play emphasis about, because I myself practice intuitive eating, and intuitive eating is primarily about how certain foods make you feel. A lot of times we don't
Ah.
even know that the foods we're eating, what kind of impact they have on our emotional well-being. And there's certain foods that will make you not feel good, and that's a path you have to discover for yourself. It's great getting help from a nutritionist or a coach, and I really advocate that. And to be able to reach out to a holistic nutrition coach who can help you with that. But intuitive eating is really focusing on how certain foods make you feel, because that also impacts your emotional presence, right?
True.
And then it's about getting enough exercise in. It's about getting enough sleep in. And it's really about avoiding harmful habits that are not good for you, like drinking or smoking, or overeating or under exercising. And when I emphasize on the fact of exercising, I don't say it for losing weight. Those are different goals, and those are
Hmm.
respective to individually. And especially working professionals who are watching this in corporates, and we tend to sit on our desks all day, and when we're sitting on our desks all day, we're very inactive. So it's very important for your own well-being to be able to get some movement in. A
Yeah.
really good way to track is through your phone or through a watch, to be able to get 5 kilometers in or 10,000 steps
Yeah.
in. Just so that you're able to get
I
that movement in.
I agree with your point because I read this technique which is known as Pomodoro technique, and that technique says that you have to like stand up for like every 20 minutes
Yeah,
and drink a glass of water, just move about. So you need to get physically just active yourself because we are sitting every like from 9 to 5 on our chair, which is not good for our health. So I'm not branding or मुझे commission नहीं मिला है, but I just got this, if you can see, yeah. So this
mm. Fitbit.
Fitbit sort of fitness band, and and they are designed in such a way that after every 20 to 30 minutes, they'll just buzz you up and say you have been sitting for too long. And I think so that's a gentle reminder which is helping me cope up with this issue. So yeah,
That is
please,
great.
Haya, carry
No,
on.
that is absolutely great. And like I said, so imagine we're working all day and we're sitting. So imagine how stiff our shoulders get, our bodies get, and imagine what kind of how are you taking care of your body? How are you taking care of you? You know.
Yeah.
So and it's important to get restful sleep in. And I talk about sleep also on my page a lot about that there's certain hours of the night where you get that kind of sleep, wo aapka REM cycle hota hai, right? So
Oh,
it's
yes.
and that's primarily between like I would say like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. So those hours of sleep are very, very important because that is when you get sound sleep. It's where your organs like restore themselves, they rejuvenate themselves. Un ghanton ki sleep is very important, So I understand a lot of
Yeah.
people sleep late and they have those kind of lifestyle habits, but what that's impacting you is your overall body and your health and your well-being, right?
Yeah.
Um, so physical is, to summarize again, getting in enough activity and getting your steps in, doing some kind of walk, getting in good food that fuels you, food that fuels your emotions and it makes you feel good, right? Like for example, I'll give you a personal example. When I eat too much sugar, and in the moment I'm going to love it, like I'm going to be like, oh my god, this is so good. But you won't believe me, a little while later, my body starts rejecting it. I start feeling sluggish. It doesn't make me feel good. I start feeling it doesn't suit my body. Like I just don't feel good about myself. And
Hmm.
primarily in the long term, if something doesn't make you feel good about yourself, it's not worth it.
True.
You know.
True.
So kabhi kabar
Yeah.
it's okay. So and I'm giving you my personal example. For different people, it could be different things.
Yeah.
For someone it could be bread, for someone it could be milk. I don't know. It depends on how it makes you feel.
Hmm.
So yeah, the next one is intellectual well-being. So what is intellectual being? That we as human beings need to be able to keep ourselves engaged through some kind of learning, problem solving. Flexing our mind to learn some kind of new skill. It could
Hmm.
be watching some skill on YouTube, it could be learning the guitar, it could be reading an article, it could be, keeping in touch with the news, any kind of new skill that expands your brain key muscles, to be able to flex
Hmm.
your brain muscles, to be able to engage in learning. The next one is social, which is very important, and it's something that really got impacted during COVID, our social well-being. So as human beings, we are social animals, and no one can take that away from us. We need to be able to connect with each other. We need to be able to talk to each other, right? Because it gives us a sense of belonging. It gives us a support system. We're able to contribute to ourselves. We're able to contribute to our families, our friends, our communities. And I know that in COVID that's impacted a lot of us. And there is one reason also why mental health has been so impacted because of our social well-being.
Yeah.
That's why during this time it was so important to keep in touch with your friends over the phone, over call, over Zoom. And I've heard this from so many people that we finally had time to speak to so many of our family members where we don't get to in real life because we're so
Yeah.
busy. You know,
Yeah.
so social well-being is
Yeah.
very important. And
And just to include in the social well-being, there were a lot of things we just took for granted. For example, our family and friends, and we give very less time because somehow the corporate sector was very busy. मगर recently again, because I meet a lot of new people, उन्होंने कहा यार मेरे 24 साल के करियर में पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि मैं पूरा महीना अपने घर में रहा हूँ. ठीक है, वरना I was normally on traveling, and because he is in sales and stuff. So now, so in this pandemic, people got to know the essence So it changed their perspective a lot on social well-being. So for example, if I belong to one Aga Khani community, so we do a lot of community work, and somewhere down the line, consciously or unconsciously, we used to take it for granted, right? But after this pandemic and like 5 6 months of no voluntary work, no CSR work, and then we realized how big a blessing it was for just boosting that social well-being. So yeah, I completely
Absolutely.
agree you on that point.
And one
Yeah.
more thing, Dr. Arif, our colleagues at work, we miss them.
Yes.
We
Oh
need that
yes.
for
Oh yes.
us. And
Yeah.
because we're working with our colleagues all day, and our colleagues are like our family, you spend more time with them than you do with your own family at times. And
Yes. Yes.
take that for granted. We weren't able to meet them, we weren't able to speak to them. That connection was also lost. And that's a very important, and it really made people realize that when that is gone from your life, how does it make you feel? What is happening
Hmm.
for you? How are you impacted? You know.
True. True.
So moving on, that would be a little bit about social. Then is
Yeah.
occupation, which is what we are very all doing right now. So to be able to derive a sense of purpose from our work, you know,
Hmm.
and I really emphasize this that and I've had conversations with you as well, and you are so passionate about your work. Your work is so purpose driven, and that is such a delight
Yes,
to
it is.
see because that's really what occupational well-being is, and that's how you maintain your occupational well-being by engaging in the kind of work that drives you. You have a vision for,
Hmm.
and I know that a lot of people don't think about that, and I would encourage you all to think about that. The work that you're doing, does it empower you? Is it your passion? And how does it make you feel? And I understand that the job market is also tight right now. A lot of people don't have that option to be able to do what they love, maybe as a 9 to 5. But if you're able to love what you love, maybe you can do that as a hobby on the side. you know Maybe you can engage
Yeah.
in that kind of work in your free time as a hobby on the weekend. But to
True.
be able to have that sense of occupational well-being, that what is the kind of work that really drives me, what am I truly
Yeah.
passionate about, what is my purpose in this life, what am I here to
Yeah.
do? I spend 40 hours a week, and what am I doing with it you know
Yeah. Just to add on to this, people who go like after 9 to 5, they go home and watch Netflix and Amazon. I do it, do as well. So I'm not negating on the fact, but if you do it continuously, I have to tell you that you have to get up and do something else, right? Either social well-being, either physical well-being, either intellectual well-being or occupational well-being in terms of hobby or side hustle, whatever suits you better, but you have to get up and do something. Netflix or Amazon should not be the only answer after 5 o'clock. It's a humble request for all of you from my
I
side,
totally
right?
agree.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I noticed that even during the pandemic, when I was at home, I noticed the days that I was watching a lot of Netflix, I noticed how it would make me feel after that. And the next morning, especially, I would wake
yeah,
up with weird, sluggish feeling of like not feeling purposeful, not feeling fulfilled. And so that does that over a time. Anything extensively that you're doing to yourself will do that to you. And so then moving on, financial well-being, and I know this is a very it's a touchy topic, especially during this time, but a really a sense of a personal satisfaction with your finances, with your current financial situation, with your future financial situation. And I know that it's been tough for a lot of people, and it's very difficult, and there's no denying that. But to be able to bring yourself to the present moment and to be able to accept what you're going through and prepare for the future and save in any way that you can, right? Because you don't know what tomorrow brings. So to
yeah.
be able to have some kind of a security net or some kind of concept of how can I secure, how can I protect my financial well-being?
I think so that, and I don't know, I want to know your opinion because we are almost at the end of this particular
Yeah,
session. Um, because of this pandemic and the COVID part and all of that which happened in 2020, perhaps I think so. I pray that we all go through this year untouched, unscathed, unharmed. But if we do so, the government should give us some sort of award of surviving, right? We are the most adaptable sapiens
Resilient.
roaming around. Yeah, resilient sapiens roaming around. So we need to get that award of the year that you survived
Absolutely.
2020. Yeah, so
Right.
okay, so I think so one of the reasons of low mental health with a lot of individuals who might be watching this or in future will watch this is that so you mentioned these five areas, and
And there's
at
one more
least three.
that is very, very important, and that
Yeah,
is your
please.
spiritual well-being. That is your connection with
Yeah,
some kind of a source, some kind of a higher power. For different people, it's
yeah,
different, so I don't want to get into that debate. But whatever your connection of source is, to be able to connect with that, you know,
yeah.
and there are ways to connect with it. Some it could be namaz,
I
some could be meditation, yoga.
I I remember this quote from Anthony Robbins, and he said that irrelevant of the religion you follow, practice it. So I
Absolutely.
think, yeah, so that I think so is part. So, okay, so these six
Yeah,
areas of well-being or wellness, in this pandemic, at least three were hampered, either intellectual, either social, either financial, either spiritual, because prayer houses were closed for a while and people were finding difficult to manage their life and stuff. Again, overall, what me and Haya both want to say to all of you who are listening to us, first of all, thank you for sparing our time. We were here for you to tell you about how you can get your mental health up and mental hygiene up. So just on this note, so there are six areas where you can help yourself. There are multiple sign and symptoms, as Haya said. There are multiple treatment without, ideally, even Haya and I will prefer that you see a therapist and sort yourself out, or you see a nutritionist and get your regime going. But even if you don't want to do that and you don't have time, there are certain ways where you can perform better or you can adapt those new habits to get what you want in life, right? It's not
absolutely.
as difficult.
No.
It's not as
And
difficult as you
and I want
think.
to add on to what you're saying. So if you're not able to see a therapist, you're not able to see a nutritionist, that's okay. I don't want you to feel like what am I going to do now, and I don't want you to feel helpless. So there are ways you can take care of yourself. Get in some exercise, meet with people, connect with people. Increase your emotional boundaries, work on your emotional health, do some meditation, do some yoga if that works for you. So there are ways you can help yourself, and I know we're running out of time, and I just want to say that if you don't help yourself, you're not able to show up for other people. And one example that I love is that God forbid when a plane is crashing and the oxygen mask come down, what is the first thing that they say to you? They say put your own mask first and then help others. The same
Yeah.
rule applies to our lives. If we're not able to help ourselves first, if we don't feel stable, if we don't feel well, we're not able to show up for our children, for our parents, for our siblings, for our friends, for our family members. So you need to be able to take care of yourself first. And taking care of yourself first is not selfish. I really want to emphasize on that because a lot of people have that misconception. If you take care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of other people.
Okay, so thank you so much, Haya. But before we go, we have few people who have asked questions. So
Sure.
Anam asked that what are those strategies to overcome anxiety? Anam, I hope if you have seen the video, we have answered your question. Afsha has said that she agrees with the robot part. That's probably avoidance behavior. And Afsha again is a very good. Uh, uh, she is wife of a very good friend of mine, and again she is doing some amazing work for her employees, and so all praises for you. Then she has said, okay, so she also said that there's an understanding has more to do with the difference in local and MNC mindset. मुझे नहीं बोलना था अफशा, ये बात मुझे नहीं करनी थी, लेकिन it's yes, it's partially true. It's partially true. अफसोस के
It
साथ,
is.
but it's partially true. But not all of the time, right? And
And
hence I said
Claudia,
partially
it's
true.
a great thing that you brought up because this is also an indicator for local firms to be able to take some concepts from MNCs, to be
True,
able to
true.
adopt those kind of cultural habits because it's
Yeah,
not nothing is
I
impossible. You can
agree.
adopt that within your own organization.
I agree. I completely agree. So if someone is watching this and you are the decision maker, this is your time to act for your employees and make sure that you are working on the culture so they are happy, because if they are, they will give you profits like no other. I can bet on that. So Ashraf says that it's absolutely true. Asmi Sahuta says the session is really helpful for me at the moment when I'm going through a rough patch of my life. As Asmi, I think so. It's my and Haya's pleasure that we are honored that we were a vehicle to help you out in your rough patch. And Ashraf Hemani says, amazing session. Thank you, Ashraf. It's really kind of you. So with that, we will end up today's talk on mental health. I would request each and every one of you who's watching, please share with your people so a lot more people can benefit from all of these strategies. What Haya, as being a professional psychotherapist, and me, who have been into this industry of training and development, can share for all of you. Please do that with your audience, for your family members. And thank you, Haya. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for
And
having
pleasure is all ours. And people who want to understand more about wellness, well-being, you can follow Haya's page, that is Wellness with Haya, and I'm sure you will get amazing content for yourself and for your family members. And before we leave, we have this question from Iftikhar. And Haya, you have 30 seconds to answer this.
No.
Apologies for that time check. Iftikhar says that share 3 easy tips for self-motivation. Can you do that?
Number one is awareness. What is getting you
Awareness.
demotivated? Number two is acceptance. And number three is to be able to practice self-discipline.
So Iftikhar, there you go. Haya has done it in record time of 13 seconds. So thank you so much, Haya, for your time. Thank you so much, audience. And with that,
Thank you.
I, Dr. Arif Pyarali, thanks. I have to give special thanks to Faiza and Shama and Learning Minds for thinking of this idea. And and thank you for coming on so we could have visualized and we have executed the idea of debunking mental health. Until next time, take care, everyone. God bless. Thank you, Haya. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.